What's up guys, macadii here, and today guys, a brand new episode of our checks and counters series, where what we're going to be doing is having a look at rain teams, and I'm going to be giving you guys my top ways to actually counter them and have answers for them within your team. So hopefully this will help you with team building and stuff like that, because rain teams are starting to come in as pretty prominent threats, I must admit. With the advent of Drizzle on Pelipper having a much more reliable Drizzle user, which also has U-turn to be able to bring in threats and stuff like that, compared to Polito that kind of came in, but then you lost momentum in the meantime. You've also got Tapu Koko as well, which works really well on rain teams because it gives you 100% accurate thunders that are also 50% boosted as well, which is absolutely scary. Really, really scary thing to try and face. There's also been buffs as well, most notably with Mega Swampert, where the Mega gets its speed first turn, so it actually gets the Swift Swim first turn. Beforehand, Swampert's first turn, it would just stay as normal Swampert speed, which is pretty slow. So it was always a bit of a pain that first turn. You had to make sure you brought it in at a point where it was able to then Mega up safely and still get that hit off without losing loads and loads of HP. But this way, with the new advent of how the speeds work in this new gen, it unfortunately gets its speed straight away. So that's a real pain. So what I've got here is sort of an example rain team thrown together from my experience on the ladder. Some of the most prominent threats that are there, because you always have Pelipper. Pelipper is always here, either with leftovers or it's got the damp rock to maximize those turns with the Drizzle. And this is a slightly different set. We normally would have either like Skull, Defog, Roost, and U-turn, or it even might have a Hurricane as well. It depends on how the set kind of works. The more offensive ones normally have Hurricane, whereas the U-turn also gives it benefit of switching out. So it's just something to watch out for. Especially, you know, they normally run Defog and Roost, so you can kind of work out what the sets are from there. If they have other hazard removal, then they may not have Defog and they may run Hurricane instead. On that slot. Most of the time they're physically defensive when I face them on the ladder from there. You've got things like Specs Kingdra. Specs Kingdra is absolutely crazy. Like Hydro Pump hits like a truck because it's rain boosted, specs boosted, stab boosted, all the boosted basically. And yeah, it's very, very difficult to switch into. Draco Meteor, dropping Dracos everywhere as well, can be a real pain to try and handle. So basically, it's just a fantastic wall breaker that's very, very quick. You then got Mega Swampert, which goes without saying, a very scary Mega under rain. Then we've got, which I was mentioning, Tapu Koko. So Tapu Koko's on almost every single rain team because it gives you that electric terrain. And rain plus electric terrain is a very scary combination because it gives you 100% accurate thunders that are 50% more powerful. And normally Tapu Koko is on a team because it, as I say, you get the thunders off for free and stuff like that. You don't have to worry about them missing. And then sometimes they pack a second electric type, things like Raichu, Alola, and maybe some other, like, I haven't seen Thunderuses actually, but Raichu seems to be fairly popular at the minute alongside Tapu Koko as the Surge Surface. So that also gets it gets its speed doubled under electric terrain, so that's also very scary with the thunder, so that thing hits like a truck as well. You've also got, I think, new really cool wall breakers like Aquanarid, which has the ability Water Bubble, which means Pokemon's water power is 2 times. So basically gives us huge power for water type moves, which when they're rain boosted, choice banded, liquidation base 85, this thing just demolishes teams and it's very, very difficult to switch into. So this is just a sort of range of some of the different sets that you do find on rain teams. So what we're going to do now is run through my top 5 Pokemon that I like to have on a team that, you know, really give you a solid answer to rain. So we'll move over to that now, and this is going from sort of, I would argue, my best all the way down to sort of more checks than anything like that, or they check a specific part of rain teams. So number 1, 100% is Mantine. So Mantine is absolutely beautiful. It walls so many different things. It walls most variants of, if we go back, let's see. So it walls most variants of Pelipper, walls most variants of, Mega Swampert, Aquanarid, it doesn't really touch it. They have to watch out with Specs Kingdra because obviously with your Water Absorb, you just absorb those sorts of moves, and the same with Choice Band and Aquanarid as well, and you resist the Bug Stab anyway, so it's a very, very good mon against most rain teams. Obviously the electric weakness makes it weak to that electric side, but that's something you can also incorporate in your team. Most teams, if they're decent, will have an electric immunity, so it's where you want that electric immunity to be quite, you know, as good as possible basically to pair well with Mantine. Next one we've got is Circuitry. Circuitry plays hell with a lot of opposing rain teams because of the fact that with Choice Scarf it outspeeds a lot of the team, obviously outside of the Swift Swimmers. But what you can do is you can just put a lot of pressure on a lot of teams. And for example, if you don't have Mega Swampert, and a lot of the time, I've seen some teams without electric communities on their rain teams, which can be, I would say, is a bit of a no-no, but that's just my opinion. For example, if you get rid of Swampert here, what's their switch in? It's Quad Reach to that, 4 times damage to that. I know it's resisted to Raichu, but it's still going to do a lot, and then you just Volt Switch into something that does more damage. If they go Tapu Koko, you still do about 44%, I think, last time when I Volt Switched to one of these, because the Electric Surge give you the boost. Aquanid's dropping, so it's a very great offensive check, and it puts a lot of pressure on rain teams from there. So it's a very nice mon. You've even got Energy Ball as well, so it's not like Swampert can come in for free, and you know there's a good chance you might be clicking Energy Ball at that point. And with the amount of water types around and the fact that there's electric types that don't resist it, you know, there's sometimes no reason to not click Energy Ball because it's still quite a safe move to click from there. Volt Switch, basically you can just come in, you can just punish so many different teams. So if the Pelipper's in and it gets a kill, you come in with Circuitry, now you steal all that momentum, because they can't Volt Switch out into a Swift Swimmer user without taking a whole ton of damage, or even potentially dying. So you get that Volt Switch off, and then they're not able to make use of the, you know, the rain as much as, you know, they could do, really. And then Hidden Power Ice is just because that's on the standard Scarf set from there. Next up, we got Tapu Bulu. So Tapu Bulu is just a bulky grass type, which helps a lot versus a lot of rain teams, because there's a lot of water spam, obviously, being in rain, and also electric spam. And luckily Tapu Bulu has got a really great typing, you know, with the grass typing that allows it to handle that. It also gives it a slightly better switch into Kingdra. I don't know exactly, I haven't run the calcs for it exactly with a Specs Kingdra in the rain. It'll probably still do quite a lot, but it's, you know, with the combination of Tapu Bulu and Mantine, they've got to make some very difficult choices. Whether do they click Draco and you go in with Tapu Bulu, or are they going to click Hydro Pump and you're going to go into Mantine? Obviously, Ice Beam is something that you've got to watch out for, but even then, Mantine will probably eat up those Ice Beams pretty well, because that base 140 special defense is absolutely beautiful. Same goes as well with Tangrowth with the Assault Vest. This guy absolutely tanks those hits. With the Regenerator, you can basically sponge hits, you know, sort of stall out those rain turns as well, which is very nice. And that Assault Vest just allows you just to be a lot more tankier. You've got Leaf Storm on there, which punishes a lot of teams. Leaf Storm and Earthquake just gives you mainly pretty much perfect coverage for most of the rain teams that are out there. So that's very, very nice. And you can knock off things like the Pelipper's Leftovers, which really damages its longevity from there. And then we've got some final ones, which I do quite like. Not necessarily for the water part, because they are very allergic to water, but from the electricity point of view, they're very nice. So Excadrill is a fantastic pair, especially, you know, Excadrill Mantine is a nice little core, actually, because they work very well together. And the fact is that Excadrill is a free switch into Tapu Koko, no problem at all, doesn't even have to worry about Volt Switches or Hidden Power Ices, because it's specially defensive and takes those hits very well. So as soon as Tapu Koko's out, you go into Excadrill and you put the pressure on. The only downside with the Excadrill is it doesn't put much pressure on the Pelipper, and the Pelipper can then come back out, which, you know, is unfortunate. You need to try and basically evaluate how much you want to be, you know, have to worry about that. You can pull the double as well, because it's very obvious they're not going to be staying in. So, you know, for example, if you've got Circuitry, then you can pull a double into Circuitry pretty safely. And then you've got an electric terrain boosted Volt Switch to go off from there. Same as well with Steelix. Steelix is just a compromise between extra. Do you want to have hazard removal on your team, or do you want to go for a sort of more reliable, bulkier rocker with that base 200 defense? So I personally go more down the Excadrill route, but it's basically up to you which one you want to pick from there. So these are my main answers to rain teams that I like to have on my team, because, as I said, very, very prominent offensive problem to have to try and deal with most teams, because when they put the pressure on, they really put the pressure on. So having a backup plan, some way to be able to handle them relatively well, is always very nice. So I hope you guys did enjoy this episode. I hope you found it very useful, and hopefully it might help you with your team building. If you did enjoy this episode, don't forget to leave a like down below. I would really appreciate it. And let me know as well, what are your answers to rain teams, and because they are very, very spooky. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys at the next one. Macadii out.